Flash is one of those programs where you would benefit greatly from by having more than one monitor attached to your computer. As you can see here in this interface, there are just tons of stuff all over the place. There's all sorts of tools and windows everywhere. There's lots of information crammed into this space. So if you have a second monitor attached to your computer, you can actually take some of these windows and put them on the other monitor, leaving your main monitor a nice big open space to actually build and design your work inside of. Now, all of this stuff that you see here, all of these interface panels and windows, can be rearranged here inside of the Flash interface. You can click and drag on these little bars up here on these panels on the right-hand side, up here in the toolbox. You can move and drag these panels around to wherever you want them to be. So the benefit of having a second monitor is you can actually take a lot of this stuff and move it over into the other monitor, giving you more room to design your content inside of. But beyond that, let me just describe to you really quickly what these different panels are and what the different interface items inside of Flash are. At the top is the menu bar, and from here is basically the same as many other menu bars and many other programs. You can access various items from this menu bar, and again, we'll be going more into these later. Down here is the toolbox, where you have access to many of your drawing and graphics editing tools. You also have access to view tools. You can zoom in and out and move your document around. There's also some color tools as well as tool options down here in the bottom. Now, around the bottom and right-hand side are these different panels. And there's different sorts of panels for different sorts of tasks that you're going to be accomplishing throughout the rest of the CD-ROM. Now, one thing I'd also like to point out is this is the interface of Flash in Windows XP. The interface will differ slightly depending upon the operating system that you're using, Mac OS X, Windows 2000, etc. The interface itself will actually differ in the way it looks a little bit. Now, the way you actually work inside of Flash and how you work with the tools, panels, and options inside the Flash interface does not change depending upon the operating system. So, whatever kind of computer you're using, Flash should still function and work exactly the same. But the layout of these different windows and panels might actually look a little bit different. The names of the panels that you're going to be working with and the names of the toolbox, the different commands up here at the top, will all stay the same. So throughout these movies on the CD-ROM, when I tell you to open a specific panel or access a tool, those are all the same across those different operating systems. It's just their position that will most likely change on your particular operating system. Now, these windows on the right-hand side here on Windows XP and down at the bottom are all called panels. And you can toggle open or close these panels by clicking on the title bar. So over here for this Behaviors panel, if I click on that, I can open or close that Behaviors panel to see what's inside of it. They're also dockable, which means that I can click and drag on these panels to move them around if I want to. So I just undocked it from the interface. I can then redock it by clicking and dragging it back over to where it was, and you can see that they dock together to create one solid interface. As you'll see in later movies, there are also more panels that you can get access to from the menu bar. Now, the panels that you're working with probably the most are going to be the Properties panel, as well as the Actions panel, and the Info panel, as well as a few other panels that you'll see a little bit later. When we get to the point where you'll need to open a panel, I'll walk you through the process of actually how to go and open that particular panel. One panel in particular that I want to draw your attention to at this point, however, is the Help panel, which on some operating systems is actually open by default. If you open the Help panel, which if you do not have it open, you can get access to it by choosing Help, Help. That will open the Help panel. The Help is now built into Flash MX 2004. In previous versions, it was actually accessible through a browser, but now it's actually built into the interface, which is really great. You can access help items by clicking on this search icon. You can also search for a particular topic that you need help on, or you can access the How Do I panel, and you can look through and browse through common How Do I topics, such as how do I add a preloader to my document, etc. So from the Help panel, which is built into the Flash interface, new to Flash MX 2004, you can easily get access to all the help you need, which is important as you're first starting off in Flash. It can be rather daunting to learn this program. So having help easily accessible, I think, is a major feature to this new version. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a new document really quickly to show you some other items in the interface. This big box right here in the middle of my window is called the Start page. And again, this is also a new feature to Flash MX 2004. It's basically a jumping off point. When I first launched the program, they've placed a few items here in the Start page that gives me access to commonly used features when I first open the program. I can choose to open any kind of recent files that I've opened, or I can even click on this Open button to have Flash open a file for me. I can create a new Flash document by clicking on this button, or I can even create a document from a template. They're all organized by topic here. It's also nicely given me links to the Macromedia Flash Exchange, where I can download more add-ons for Flash, or it gives me a few more links to some commonly helpful topics down here at the bottom. If I don't want to see this Start page again, I can also click on Don't Show Again, and next time I launch Flash, this Start page won't be displayed. For now, go ahead and click on the Create New Flash Document button. This is going to create a new Flash document for you. Now at the top is the timeline. You can see it's labeled here, and again, just like the other panels, I can toggle open or close my timeline panel as well. Flash is often thought of as a 2D program because here is where I design my document, with the way I want my graphics and my presentation, my movie to look on a flat surface. I can't design in 3 dimensions inside of Flash, and that's usually the misconception. Actually, I can in some ways design in 3 dimensions. I design in 2 dimensions here on my stage, but I also have a 3rd dimension of time. Here inside my timeline is where I design how I want all my movie to be performed in time. Again, I'll be getting into the specifics of the timeline in later movies. Now this white box here below the timeline is my stage, and this is where I design the way I want my movie to play, how I want the graphics to look. This is the visible area. When some viewer comes to your web page, all the content that's in this white box is what they're going to see. The gray area around the outside is called your work area, and the content that you place out here in the work area the user won't see. So if you want to have something move into view and then move out of view, it would start in the work area, move onto the stage, and then move back onto the work area again. So the work area is for you to place content, but it's area that the viewer actually won't see. Now if I create a new document by choosing File, New, and then from the New Document window, choose a new Flash document and click OK, it's going to create a new document for me. New to Flash MX 2004, I now have tabs up here at the top. And again, this is a feature that's only accessible to Windows users. I can switch back and forth between my open files by clicking back and forth between these tabs. On Macintosh, it'll just open up in a new window, and you can switch back and forth between your documents by selecting them underneath the window menu. So as you can see, there's actually a lot of content inside of the Flash interface. You have lots of panels to work with. And by the way, there are more panels that you can actually see and open or close under the Window menu. You can choose Window, Design panels, Development panels, and other panels. You can open and close panels by choosing one from these panels menu. We'll be working with a lot of those throughout the remainder of these movies on the CD-ROM as well, by the way. There's the stage in the middle. You have your timeline above that. You have your toolbox where all your different tools are stored, and you have your menu items at the top. We'll be dealing with a lot of these panels, most of the tools, and a lot of the menu items throughout the remainder of the movies on the CD-ROM.